Ouija boards. While some consider them to be nothing more than a harmless toy, others believe them to be a dangerous tool that can open doors one can never close again. Today, we will be discussing one such case that truly makes you think that there could be something lurking within the shadows. This case was the first documented paranormal encounter involving law enforcement and was the inspiration behind the terrifying film Veronica. We will be discussing the Spanish tragedy of Estefania Lazaro here on Mystery Archives. Estefania Lazaro was a regular teenage girl that enjoyed things any normal teenager would: visiting friends, gossiping about boys, and going to school. But during this year, little did she know that she would alter her life as well as many others. Unknown to her parents at the time, Estefania, as well as several of her other friends, began to take an interest in the occult and began a fascination with Ouija boards. During this time, one of her friend's boyfriends passed away after being involved in a motorcycle accident. Distraught and heartbroken, the group attempted to console their friend by attempting to bring her closure by making contact with the boy who had passed away via a séance. One day while the girls were in class, they snuck out of their studies into a discreet room located in the basement of the school, where they proceeded to set up a Ouija board along with several candles to begin the séance. They placed their hands upon the planchette of the board and began to ask their questions. Surprisingly, within a matter of minutes, they made contact. The planchette upon the board began to move on its own, uncontrollably, and as the terror began to set in, Estefania began to seize and convulse on the floor as the candles extinguished themselves and the smoke entered her mouth and nose. Their panic manifested itself in shrill screams, which soon caught the attention of a nun who happened to be nearby. She interrupted the ritual and damaged the board. The girls were soon reprimanded, but Estefania was sent to the nurse's office to be examined, as she was found tucked in the corner of the room, frozen like a statue on the floor. Unfortunately, whatever door that was open that day would never be closed again. Over the next several months, the young girl began to change. She began to have fits of rage where she attacked anyone that would come near her and would bark like a rabid dog. These horrible episodes would typically be followed by a seizure. She also began to tell her parents that she was seeing dark, disfigured creatures walking past her room at night. She described them as having no faces, wearing crimson cloaks, and asking her to go with them. Terrified for their daughter's life, they took Estefania to several doctors, but each time none of the physicians could find anything wrong with her. The bizarre episodes peaked on July 15, 1991, after Estefania violently attacked her younger sister. She collapsed and had foam coming out of her mouth. She was rushed to a nearby hospital in a coma and died shortly after. That was not the end of the paranormal activity, however. Within several hours of the young girl's passing, her mother heard Estefania screaming out her name, and the voice seemed to be coming from all rooms inside the house. The activity would continue for the next several years and varied in intensity. The family began to hear the disembodied laughter of an old man emanating from inside the walls of their home. Objects moved and broke on their own, and violent attacks from invisible entities became a regular occurrence. During one such event, Estefania's younger sister was picked up off the floor with her wrist slammed against a wall. The happening soon came to a head exactly 2 years to the day of Estefania's passing, when a photo of her hanging in the family's living room mysteriously caught fire. Surprisingly, no other objects were harmed except the photo, and the only spot that was burned was Estefania's face. The family, desperate for help, decided to call the police. And shortly after this, Inspector Jose Negri and his team arrived on the site later that night. They found the family in a state of terror outside of their apartment building during a raging thunderstorm. 2 agents stayed with the family outside of the residence, while Negri and 2 other agents entered the apartment. The report that was written by the inspector has become an interesting testimony, and certainly makes one think that there could be something beyond this world. Upon entering the residence, the agents first checked to see if the home was clear of potential pranksters or burglars. They checked a large wardrobe door which was locked upon inspection, and within a matter of seconds, the door violently flung open. They then heard what sounded like loud screams emanating from the walls and the balcony, only when they inspected said areas, there was no one to be found. They began to observe a strange brown substance that materialized out of thin air upon the living room wall and various furniture the family owned. Their time in the apartment concluded abruptly when they watched a crucifix be ripped off the wall by an unseen force. This left 3 distinct inch-deep scratch marks within the wall itself. Shortly after these events were documented, the Gutierrez family sold their home and moved. The new occupants never witnessed or experienced any of the inexplicable phenomena. The case would become one of the most famous paranormal cases in Spain and was further documented by federal police officers who could not prove what had taken place. The story would later gain worldwide notoriety in its on-screen adaptation in the form of the movie known as Veronica. Having watched this film and become interested in the real-life case, I have to say that it was truly terrifying, and it was a very well-made film in my opinion. Some key details have been changed, but it really does offer a creative insight into what really happened. With that being said, I urge you to look into the case for yourself, because it's truly remarkable, but tragic as well. Leave me a comment what your thoughts are about the case, or what you thought of the movie. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode of Discover the Unexplained. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.